if you are a .NET developer or if you have someone that one is doing line of business application, we want to show them SAF because we strongly believe that SAF is the right tool to create line of business application fast to skyrocket your productivity. So let's say like this, SAF, the data access. Before we start getting to SAF, let's talk about what is the data access that SAF use. So SAF has XPO and entity framework. So in this meetup today, entity framework we're not gonna cover because there is a lot of material about entity framework. That's what most people are used to, but we want to show what we love and what we are, what we use every day. So what is XPO? Before getting to what is XPO, we're gonna go directly. So what is an ORM? ORM, you have your data classes, you have your model, and you have your database. And there is a disconnection there. ORM, and there is a lot of hate, love about ORMs. There is the ORM is the Vietnam of computer science. There is another article about ORM hate that we can gonna put the links on the description. There are a lot of people that say that if you don't know how everything is happening, like how the SQL is being generated under the hood, you can run into issues like there was a big discussion yesterday about XPO that we'll get to there about the N+1 issue. And we definitely, the ORM has some abstraction, and even some people argue about that the abstraction is not the right word. By the way, there is a way to connect your data models to your table. And XPO is one of the, in my opinion, best choices. It does it really efficiency. So let's go to the link, XPO. So XPO is an object relational mapping library, and I want to say this is completely free. So that wasn't the case before, but right now XPO is completely free, and that's one of the things that Jose can attest for that. It has really changed our life. We have been able to do a lot of things with XPO since it's become free. So one thing that we want to say is that XPO is completely database independent, highly database independent. So you don't need to know how everything is happening under the hood. You have, I think that is 14 plus databases supported by XPO. That means SQL Server, MySQL, Postgres, Oracle, so on, so on. If you can see here, there are a lot of database engines. And not only that, it has a lot of, right here, you can see the database, the data type supported by XPO. And the great thing about XPO is that it's pretty extensible and customizable. So you can change, you can create new providers. And Jose actually can attest about that. We have a few providers that address other databases that are not supported for XPO. But even that, right here, you have links to see all the data types that are supported by XPO. But if there is a data type that is not supported, you can create your own converter. You can create your own, and you can actually map it to a different type that is not the one that Express does by default with a DB type attribute. So XPO is controllable, transparent, is really database independent, and in my opinion is, and this is a controversial thing because this is I'm a little biased, but it's easy to use. It's easy to get up and running. So let's see the main, one of the main features. There has a lot of features. If you see XPO check almost every check that you need for the list of XPO features, but ORM features, but it's transparable and controllable. It has support for bindable and pivot collection, object query, XPView. We're gonna get to there in a bit. Supporting for a existing database. So that means that if you already have a database up and running in your current system, you can actually use that one and map it to your XPO object. So you don't have to create a new database. You have support for a legacy database. And not only that, you have that with persistent classes generation. So you have the designer that goes to your database and create the, sorry, just a second, Dennis is connecting and he sent me a text that he wasn't able, I wasn't seeing. So let me
Because
continue.
it's also fast. I shared a link in the chat.
Yeah, I saw it, and we're getting to that. We have the
Oh,
benchmark
okay, you
right
have the
here.
benchmarks. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm out. So
No, no.
go on.
Yeah, no. What I was saying, you have support for, again, for legacy database. So if you have already your database, you can use that one. You don't have to change that. You can map that database to your current object, and you can do it actually with a persist class generation. We have a designer that goes from your database to your classes. We have a lot of features. So one of the things, again, support for various DB engines. And if you see here, pervasive, Firebase, Postgres, Oracle, MySQL, it has even SQL dependency support that we did an example, and It's a beauty, in my opinion. Dynamic runtime extension has a criteria system that Jose can attest to that. Before the link time, there was when the XPO criteria language syntax, there was no link yet, and that criteria system is really powerful, really comprehensive. The things that you can accomplish. So if you see, it checks. Let's talk about this. It has optimistic logging, deferred deletion, custom OID generation. So it takes care of a lot of plumbing for you without you having to do all those low tasks of database maintenance of a lot of things. XPO is already creating all those things for you. From there, we can actually go to the class comparison. In XPO, you always have to inherit from a base type so that it takes care of all that functionality that we just talked about. And if you go to the one of these classes, you can see that they have implemented a lot of interfaces, a lot of functionality already for you. So if we see here this table real quick, we have persistent-based, XP-based object, XP-Lite, XP custom object, XP object, and so on. Also, can you check the participant chat and everything while I'm doing the presentation in case that I'm not watching and I cannot admit anyone? I don't want this meetup, no one to get discouraged and leave because they weren't admitted. Sorry about that. So, so if you see here, if you inherited from one of these base classes, you have a lot of functionality out of the box. You have deferred deletion. That means that your object doesn't get deleted physically from the database. It just get marked as delete. You have optimistic logging to handle concurrence. You have a built-in OID key. And then you can see here, for example, XP-Lite object. If you have already a custom database already, if you have a view that you want to map, you can use XP-Lite object and you map to all those properties. Let's continue. So let's see the benchmark that Manuel was presenting. So right here we have a benchmark of a few different operations that is being done through Entity Framework 6, Entity Framework Core, XPO, and Direct SQL. And if you see, XPO is one of the is the most performance oriented in most of the operations, and it's almost as close as Direct SQL query. So definitely XPO is performant, is controllable, is a big great tool to have in your toolbox. So let's quickly review this. Is a nice article about the XPO thing when they actually are using DevExpressa is using XPO in their own products. So they are handling a lot of like a database ranging from 40 gigabytes to 100 gigabytes with no performance issues. The XP also come with caching. It comes with it's great for distributed application. It's great for performance. It comes with the XPO profile that you can actually see how the queries, what are the queries that are being generated. So again, highly database independence, support for creating your new providers for new databases, performance, and all the features that we just talk about one by one. It's a great.
And you forgot the main feature is free.
Yeah, no, that's what the first thing that I say. So
no, I mean you should repeat it again because it's like you get all of that for free, and that absolutely. Is really nice.
It is actually a great thing. So now that we give an overview of XPO, because I wanna ask this question to Manuel and to Jose, and we're gonna do 60 seconds, no more than that. Why XPO is your choice of ORM? 60 seconds, one of both. Go.
You start, Manuel.
Why XPO in 60 seconds is hard? It's the most flexible, most comprehensive ORM out there. It's all the meta customization. You can do almost everything, and it just works.
I like that. It just works.
It just works. You never have to think about this again. It just works.
Yeah, actually, good answer. I will say that for me, Javier, well, we chose XPO at the beginning. It was in a company that I was working for, because we wanted to target multiple databases, and we wanted to do it with a single code base. So, well, at that moment, there was no entity framework. There was Hibernate, and Evade, iBate, something like that from Java that was migrated to .NET. But in the end, like most of them, I mean, of those ORMs from the past, they are already dead somehow. So this is the one that lasted longer. And in general, what I love about the XPO is like, we got a lot of strange cases in the office, like load balancing with the database and you name it. We have strange cases. And I can always replace the part that I don't want or I want to change for that case, for that scenario. It's like, do I need an object layer? I make an object layer. Do I need a special unit of work? I make a special unit of work. Do I need a different provider? I make a different provider. So if you really know all the layers, like how they are working, XPO is your playground. And basically, it's like, I mean, 99% of the stuff will be done for you. And basically what you need to do is planning. Because I learned that if you really plan well your ORM, the performance will be like really big, I mean, or high since the beginning. So for me, XPO is a really good tool because the extensibility, but the main thing about any ORM is that you need to know how to use it. The more you know it, the more performance it will have. So
Beep, beep,
that's my
beep,
answer.
beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I was about to say that. 60 seconds. Okay, I will say my answer.
There's one thing I want to add to that, because Jose was said. I think it's the really only and ORM provider out there that is really database agnostic on the long run. The thing is with entity framework or Hibernate or Dapper. I mean, Dapper, of course, because Dapper isn't designed to be database agnostic. It's about object mapping, but you write in the SQL syntax of your database. But have you ever tried to switch from entity framework on MySQL, for example, to entity framework on MS SQL or SQLite?
Well, I will stop you there, Manuel, because like the thing is that
you can do it, and yes, there are caveats in XPO as well. But if you stay on the right path, you don't have to worry a lot.
Yeah, that's what
90%.
That was going to tell you is that like entity framework also is really different between versions. Each version is totally it's like a total rewrite from the other version, a different pattern, and it's like oh, I'm reading this article, I will do it like this, and then you realize it's like I did it like I should do it like 3 years before. Now I need to move it, and also as you said, they never been a really agnostic oriented tool. Because not right now, I think right now it's a little bit better, but before it was like even each type of database provide their own types, their own string, their own blah blah blah. So they have their own types definition. So you're not using .NET type definition, you're using something else.
Yeah.
And they decide to don't do that anymore. I mean, every 3 months there is a new decision and it works differently. So for me, it's the stability.
The main thing, for example, on this case is, for example, database migrations on EF. I don't blame EF. EF is a great tool if you're happy with it, but EF has really a downside if you want to switch, for example, your migration scripts between.
Yeah, because that's pure SQL, I think.
That's pure SQL, yeah. But nevertheless, XPO is great because it is so flexible and it works and it's fast and
and I would say it's stable, like
and it's stable,
okay, my 60 seconds. My 60 seconds.
Okay.
Come on. Okay. Mature ORM is a mature ORM with, I don't know, around 15 years already being used, being tested with a lot of case studies, with a lot of real world solutions. It's cross-platform. Everywhere .NET runs, XPO runs. .NET Framework, .NET Core, Mono. It's transparent and controllable, so that means that you can intersect any part of the generation of the query, any part of the magic happening, you can intersect it. It's highly database independent, as you guys say. That's one of the main reasons. It's extensible and customizable. It has support for legacy for existing database and it generates your classes. It has caching. It has, and this is a great one. It has support for stored procedures and views. So if you have already a business logic in your stored procedure, you can reuse that. If you have a view that is joining data from 7 tables that will increase performance, not to go to those 7 tables and just use a view, database view, and map it to an XPO object, you have that. It has great performance, as we just saw on the benchmark. It has transaction support, lazy loading, associations, optimized locking, deferred deletion, built-in OID generation, so on, so on. And you can change naming conventions. You can change a constraint, indexes. So why XPO? I think that answer, that it gets answered by itself. XPO is a great ORM.